long bucket list of things I want to do before I kick the bucket. At the top of that list is something I wanted to do since I was 16 years old. Make a landing on a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier. When I was in high school, the movie Top Gun came out and was a huge hit. In the first scene of the film, star Tom Cruise comes in to land on an aircraft carrier, and it looks like he's not going to make it. But against all odds, he nails the landing. Since seeing it, I've wanted to recapture that feeling by actually doing it myself. Well, I finally got my chance. In 2015, I had the opportunity to spend a night on the USS John C. Stennis aircraft carrier, which was out in the Pacific practicing for war games. The purpose of being out there was to learn from the commander of the fleet and captain of the ship how he leads amazing teams so I could translate those lessons for the audiences to whom I speak each year. But I hadn't really thought about the fact that in order to get to the aircraft carrier, I had to land on it. And here's the thing. I was the most nervous flyer you could ever meet. So when I got to the naval base at Coronado the morning we were supposed to leave and met the pilot of my plane, who looked like he couldn't have been more than 16 years old, I was not filled with confidence. Trying to reassure myself, I asked him, "How many times have you done this? How many times have you landed on the aircraft carrier?" And he said, 86 times. Feeling somewhat better, I said, "Well, good. That means this feels like nothing to you. You're not nervous. You're totally confident that we're going to nail it." And he looked me dead in the eye and said, "No. Every single time I land on the aircraft carrier, I am absolutely terrified. But terror is a good thing because it keeps me focused." The young pilot continued, "Maybe this is a good time for me to share with you the 3 scenarios." I thought 3 scenarios? No one ever told me about scenarios. But first, he explained how the landing would work. We fly out over the Pacific, and we get up against the ship, he said. We'll be right alongside them, and I'll get clearance to land. We'll turn the aircraft, and I have 14 seconds to line up for landing. When you think of a landing, this isn't like landing on a Southwest Airlines plane. This isn't going to be smooth, and here's why. The ship is propelling forward. It's bobbing up and down, and it's rocking left to right. So I have to match the exact movement in order to land correctly on the deck. So 10 seconds before we land, I'm going to yell, "Brace!" Your job is to put your hands across your body and prepare for a crash, because we're going to execute today what we pilots call a controlled crash. When we come down to land, there's a hook that will drop from the back of the aircraft and a wire across the deck of the ship. And my job is to hook that wire. That wire is going to stop us from going 160 miles an hour to 0 miles an hour in 2.5 seconds flat. So scenario number 1 is this. When we come down to give ourselves the best shot at catching the wire, we're going to smash the plane against the deck. And if we do this right, you're going to hear metal scraping across metal. If we execute this perfectly, we'll hook the wire and the plane will stop. I like scenario number 1, although it was still a bit scary. Then he explained scenario number 2. We come around and yell, "Brace!" And I come down for our controlled crash. Bam! We hit the deck, but we miss the wire. But here's the trick. I have less than 2.5 seconds because of our speed to identify that we missed the wire and pull the plane back up for takeoff. If we don't manage this in time, we go off the end of the ship, which leads to scenario number 3. For some reason, I didn't feel good about number 3, but I listened anyway. Scenario number 3 is what we call a water landing, and they'll tell you more about that when they get you strapped up. I was freaking out about what was behind door number 3. They were going to explain it once I was strapped in, when it was too late to back out. I got the sense that scenario number 3 might not end well, but I was in it to win it. So we got in the plane and took off. We headed out to sea and circled back until the pilot could see the ship. We started to turn, and at the 10-second mark, he yelled, "Brace!" Hands across the shoulders, we got ready to land. We slammed against the deck, and we missed. Now, deep in scenario number 2, we went back up and circled around. I was terrified.